Hey, it's Jason with J. Allen Photography, and you are listening to the podcast Talk Time with J. Allen Photography. This is episode 19. Started off at the beginning of the year, and so far going, I'm not going to say strong, but going for 19 straight episodes or 19 straight weeks. So that's pretty good. I think I actually didn't post the 1st of January just because I think that was, of course, the 1st of January, but I didn't post that first week. So the very first episode was the second full week of January. I think it was the second Tuesday. But anyway, 19 straight weeks. Super happy with that. I say it's not strong because I'm consistently behind on getting this recorded, shot, edited, and out. Well, recording and shot are the same thing. But, so that's kind of where that's at. But that's okay. Still getting it out, still getting it done. And I think that's the important thing for me is I just want to be consistent with getting these things done. And I'm still having fun with it. It's taking more work. This time of year is really busy for me. Again, I shoot primarily senior photos. And so at this time of year here in San Antonio, it's just a lot of senior sessions. And so trying to do the YouTube channel, trying to do the podcast, trying to get clients' photos out, doing some dance recital photos for some fairly large dance studios also takes up a lot of my time. I'm starting to work now with my new 2025 senior models. So that's also taking a little bit of time trying to, stay above the water on that and stay ahead of the game on that. So it's just taking a little bit of a toll. But again, I don't want it to get too easy, right? I want it to be fun and I want it to challenge me. And that's definitely what's happening. And so, that's just kind of like a quick update on where I'm at with my work for the year. Here we are, middle of May, and I'm kind of looking forward to the summer. Get to slow down just a little bit and pretty much just do a lot of YouTube type content. So I don't do a whole lot of shooting in the summer, and this summer I'm actually looking to just cut my hours to morning shoots. It's just too hot here in San Antonio, and it's disgusting going out there in the humidity. People in Houston probably know. People in high humid places know. You go outside and you're out there for like 10 minutes and you're already just soaked all the way through, and that's just not fun. Plus, your models are sweating. If their hair frizzes out with humidity, it's not the best thing for me, especially to shoot in the middle of the summer. And so I'm looking forward to a little bit of a slowdown, a little bit of a break before fall gets here. I can't believe I'm already talking about fall getting here. But yeah, that's life and that's how that goes. Today, what I wanted to talk about, and it really is more so just, I was kind of like, man, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to talk about? What is it about critique, constructive criticism that just brings on so much animosity? What? I don't know what it is. I'll be brutally honest. I'm not good at taking it. I think I've gotten better over the years, but I'm not good at taking it. But are there many people that actually are good at taking criticism or taking critique? The problem is, and we have a thunderstorm going on in the background, so you might hear some rumble from the thunder. But I think probably one of the things is especially as photographers, as artists, this is kind of like our baby, right? This is our passion. This is our heart and soul that we put out there. And then when somebody says something maybe negative, it's like a personal attack. And maybe that's not you, but I think that's me. I take it a little bit probably too personal when I don't need to take it personal, but I think there's good ways to give critique. I think there's bad ways to give critique. I think there's definitely an etiquette for giving and not giving critique. If you're on Facebook, you see it running rampant, bad and good critique all over the place. The thing is with critique, I think that there is truth in all of it, whether it's good or bad, whether it's presented well or presented poorly or offensively. I think today, with where social media has gone, I think we are all braver behind our keyboards than we are face to face. And what I mean by that, I shouldn't even have to explain it, but what I mean by that is we're more willing to say something that probably we wouldn't say to their face. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. And I think with social media, it probably comes off more bad or negative than good. Like I said, I think there's truth in all critique. You just kind of have to find it, and I think it's hard sometimes to weed through some of it. But I want to try to give you some of my takes on critique. First, I think there's definitely an etiquette for it. On Facebook, for instance, people. I'm part of a lot of different photography groups, and I don't participate as much as I used to with it because, man, it can control and consume your time. But I used to see it a lot, and it still happens. But somebody will post photos, and they don't say anything about wanting critique. They just posting their photos to show their work, and then people go on there and critique it, give their criticism for it, re-edit it, post it back up into the comments threads and stuff like that. Man, that's a big no-no. That is not how to critique people's work. If somebody's not asking for critique, don't give it. Just let them share their work. Again, maybe they've worked up to the point where they're so nervous and they've never posted any of their work before, and they decide, you know what, I think I want to go ahead and post it up. And they post up their work. It's their baby, right? They're so impressed with it. I'm not meaning baby as in like a physical baby. I'm meaning this is their baby. This is what they've put their love and time into. And so they put this out there, and then just people attack it. And they're not even looking for that. They're just proud of what they did. And so you get that critique and that criticism and stuff like that. And man, it can really, depending on that person's psyche, that poster's psyche, it can really delay and stunt growth. And it's those people that struggle to get that stuff out there, or probably a lot of times those newer or beginner photographers that really need that extra confidence to post stuff out there, and then seeing really negative comments or bad critique can really hurt them. The problem is, again, and I'm going to reiterate it, there's probably very much truth in what people are critiquing with their work. There are not too many, and I definitely wasn't one of them, photographers that when they're starting off, they're just fantastic. That doesn't really happen. I think there are definitely natural artists with it that pick it up much faster. I think there are people that see composition better, see framing better, and so right off the bat, they're kind of already maybe steps ahead of other newer photographers. But that's more because they maybe have a different artistic eye or artistic vision. But, none of us start off knowing the craft. Here I am years and years into this, and I still make mistakes. I still have issues, and it just is what it is. So if people aren't asking to be critiqued, why critique? Why give your opinion? Just be like, thumbs up, like the photos, post, hey, great. Thanks for posting. Thanks for sharing your work. Move along, scroll along. Nothing ever is going to be resolved on social media, and nothing. You're not really going to change people's minds. I don't think in the long run with social media. So a lot of times it's just best to kind of keep scrolling. Today, and this is probably why I decided to go ahead and do the episode on critique, but I saw somebody posted on one of the local Facebook pages, some maternity work. You can definitely tell this person is using a kit lens. You can tell this person is very, very new and raw with photography. And they posted their images up asking for critique. And, everybody says, great photos, good job, great photos, good work. Nobody's giving any critique. And sometimes I just scroll past this, but, I can see some stuff. And so I just was like, hey, you did a good job with your posing. You got good facial expressions with your subjects, but your color grading is kind of all over the place. From one image to the next, it's completely different. Now, they're using natural light. They're struggling finding good lighting, good exposure. And so that's going to very much key in on why they have so much difference in their color grading, because light changes from one scene to the next. And if you don't necessarily know how to find good light, you're going to struggle with that, and your images are probably going to have different tones and different colors from image to image. And so that's what's happening here with this photographer. So that's what I said. Hey, your color tones are off, your color grading's off, it's inconsistent. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm not like reading this word for word, but just kind of giving that information. Hey, I think these are way too warm, and some of them are way too green. And the person responded, well, I was going for more warmth. That's why I added warmth. So I just commented back a thumbs up and said, all right. And so I guess I'm meaning if you're wanting critique, if you're wanting to get better, then listen to the critique that you give. I don't feel like I was overly negative. I don't feel like I came off, attacking. I would not have even commented on the photos other than the fact that he said he was looking for critique on his work. So I was like, okay, I'll give you some critique, what I see. So if you don't want it, don't ask for it. That's plain and simple. I think that photographers, especially newer photographers, need to be... Wow, that was a nice piece of thunder right there. I think newer photographers really need to seek out critique when they're first learning, because if you can learn to wade through all these comments, maybe not pick every one of these critiques, but maybe find some that you're like, what, I think I can work on this one. Like some people, if I would have said right off the bat, hey, learn to use flash, because that's going to help with your consistent tones all the way through, I believe that is very accurate. But this photographer, I don't believe, is at the point where he's ready to learn flash. So me saying go out and jump 4 levels in your photography before you ever even learn good lighting, like good natural ambient lighting, that does them no good. That's not good critique. And so you need to be able to offer good critique. But as that photographer, you need to be able to kind of pinpoint the critique that's going to benefit you probably the most. And that is the hard part with social media, because everybody's throwing their 2 cents in. And so you really have to kind of be able to scroll and pick and choose what you're going to listen to. But if you ask for critique, be willing to listen to critique. When I share my work out on social media, I don't typically ask anymore. I probably could, but I don't typically ask anymore. Every now and then I do get some people telling me stuff, and I do my best to respond to it correctly. I think I posted something, man, what was it? It was fairly recently. Somebody said they didn't like a pose. They said, hey, it looks like your image is maybe half a stop too overexposed. And as I looked at it, it was when I shot the image and the way I shot it, it was not. The way I edited it was a little bit overexposed. And so by looking at the image, I said, you know what? Let me drop down my whites just a little bit, or drop down that exposure just a little bit. He was right. I didn't really try to argue with him. I could have, but you can't do that. Even though I didn't ask for critique, But I'm not saying that I'm at a specific level, but I think that my work kind of speaks for itself at this point. And so if I combat this guy, like defensively, I think that puts people off, and I think that makes me look like a butthole, so I don't want to do that either. I could have just been like, dude, I didn't ask for critique. Thanks, move along. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. But taking that criticism, learn to take criticism. I think it's important. I think it helps us grow. Recently on one of my YouTube videos, I posted the video out and somebody commented and said, hey, this would be so much better if you actually put the light stand the correct way. Like, how do I respond to that? Like, that absolutely in no way affects what those images look like. Me putting the stand wrong does nothing to the images. It just means there's probably a better base foundation for my light stand. It doesn't in any way change anything. So that's, to me, useless. That to me is useless critique. Granted, I should probably put the light stand the correct way, but that doesn't change the image. And that wouldn't have had any effect on making that video better. I just think it's funny. So taking that critique. Again, I think what you really need to do is, one, be able to take it. If you're going to ask for it, take it. But also realize is that you're going to get everybody's opinions. You're going to get mine, his, hers, theirs, whatever. You're going to get all these opinions, and you have to find... I think you have to find a critique that is closer to your level, closer to where you can go. Again, for this individual, if I would have said, hey, jump to Flash, he's not ready for that. And if he tries that, he's probably going to get very frustrated with Flash and not understand it at all. And that's going to put him behind even more, because he could have been learning how to find better ambient lighting as opposed to jumping right to Flash or strobe. So as the person seeking the critique or seeking the criticism, be willing to accept it, but also look and find the criticism that's more pinpointed to where you're at your skill level. That everybody's going to give you all kinds of advice, but find what's at your skill level that you can improve and change. Posing is one. Getting the facial expressions is one. Composition is one. Those are some of the basic things that newer photographers might be missing, that you can say, hey, look at this and correct this. As far as giving critique, I think that it's also important, not that I did it correct or incorrect or whatever, but again, if I would have gone right at this guy and said, hey, use a flash, that will resolve your problems, he probably doesn't even know where to start, right? This is a newer photographer. So when you have people looking for critique, asking for that criticism, you should be able to, by looking at the images, tell where they are in their levels, in their stages of growth as a photographer. If these look like they were shot with a kit lens, they probably were shot with a kit lens. If their colors are inconsistent, if their poses aren't great, if you know that they're not using flash, give them advice that will benefit them. Don't go so far over their head that they're lost. Give them like food to chew on, right? Give them something that will benefit them. Don't just randomly spew out something where you are at your level. That does not help somebody that's brand new. Something that I would also say is when you're trying to give advice, I try to do this. I try to give positives and I try to give negatives. I think when you do that, it helps. It helps them see right away that you're not necessarily attacking, but you're trying to give good and bad, feedback or negative feedback. You're not just blowing smoke either. You're not just being like, oh, your stuff is so good. That does nobody any good. The problem is a lot of people get offended. They just get offended. And again, I think it goes back to that's kind of a passion or something like that. But if you're asking for it, they should be willing to take it. But give them good advice that's at their level. So you, as a more mature photographer, a better photographer, should be able to recognize work and give advice and critique to their level. That's what you have to do, is give that advice to their level. Otherwise, they're not going to take it. They're not going to fully understand it. They're not going to be able to learn it and grow. And that's what it's all about. I think photographers, for some reason, have a tendency to be very competitive with their work. And probably it's because we're all like our sole business, right? But I think we also should help each other grow. I think we should give back to the photography community to allow people to get better. Does that mean that some of them might be taking your clients? That's possible, but more than likely not. If you're at a level where you're charging a good amount for your work and this lower or newer photographer comes along and they start to grow, well, more than likely their clients aren't your clients anyway. So it's not like they're going to take away clients from you. They're going to take clients that are kind of in their range. Or the clients that are in that photographer's range. So, just because you're helping out a photographer doesn't mean you're going to lose business. And I think that's still a fear. I think people still are kind of, pull back on that a little bit. I don't think you should be like that. But critique, I think it's extremely important. Like I said, I struggle with it. I still struggle with it. I don't like ever asking my wife for critique because I don't like hearing what she has to say. Especially about my photography. I'm always like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not a photographer. But the problem is she still has bits of wisdom just in life that I could probably apply to my photography. And so, like I said earlier, if you don't want it, don't ask for it. If somebody didn't ask for it, don't give it. And if somebody did ask for it, pinpoint it to their location and pinpoint it to their skill level and give them advice and critique that's going to, 1, boost up some confidence, and 2, give them something to grow on. And with that, I think that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, my goal here soon is hopefully to get this thing hosted on other platforms other than just YouTube. But remember, I do have YouTube videos that come out every Wednesday and new podcast every Tuesday. And until next time, keep shooting.